everyone. I am Rex Red and I am back with another EZ3DTV tutorial today. We are really having some awesome stuff happening today. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Wait until you see the new features that EZFinder now contains, all for your convenience and ease of work, okay? So we are now in EZFinder here. And remember yesterday we had some issues with going back pages. That has been fixed. So now when we go in, and we have some new features just to run over some of the ideas here. The Easy Organizer, when we open the Easy Organizer here and we double click, down in the bottom, I don't know if you can see it very well here, but it tells you now which virtual folder that you have injected. So if you're looking at this and you're kind of going through and saying, okay, which folder was that again? Well, it says virtual folder garage, tab 1, places, and places is your panel name, okay? So I can go to garage, okay, to tab 1, places, which is right there, and down in here I can find garage. You see, because I assume that people are going to have these loaded with folders. And so, Art, welcome. This is part 17. Almost, yes, almost at the Steely Dan number. Yes. No, we can't dance together. All right. We have some new features, Art. Check these out. So now when the back button is now, I believe, fully implemented, okay? So it always works in every single case. Is that possible? Yes, I hear you on that one. A very good song, very, very good song. So, or the Janice Ian. We are at the Janice Ian number. So, yes. So, what we have here now, down in the bottom corner here, you see down here in the bottom corner, we have it tells us which virtual folder we have injected. And you guys are going to thank me for this feature, because when I click on this and you start working in the folder, you're going to kind of, with ugly girls like me. Yes, very good. So we have down in the bottom right corner here, it says, you see, it says tab 8. And you see now these tabs actually have numbers, okay? They used to just have, I have done a lot of work. And this, I believe, Daz did contact me today. They asked me for something they already have, which I can't really understand why they asked me for information about the program when I have already given them the entire user's manual, which is actually incredibly detailed. Yes, well, thank you, Art. That is very, very nice. Well, I am making this program very well worth the money, okay? So here we go, lower right. Now we go up into here, and now you can see the tabs up here actually have numbers. So yes, we have, so let me just kind of take you through some of the scenarios here, okay? Because you'll see the complexity of the back button, okay? Because the back button not only needs to take you back to the previous collection that you were like, okay, so if I go to, now we say go to hair, okay? And we'll say this wearable. We just injected 1,498 hair items, okay? Now I'm going to go to page 5 of the hair items, okay? It's important that and so I added the 5 number. Now I'm going to actually paginate to page 6. So I'm going to manually paginate. I'll use the 5 to go to, and then I'll paginate to page 6, okay? Then I'm going to switch tabs over here, and then I'm going to go to, let's find another large one, 900, corrugated. We're going to add, now down in the bottom, see where it says hair? We're in tab 3, ready to use, okay? That's the name of, ready to use is the name of the panel, okay? You're going to know these things, okay? Tab 3 is up here, which is hair, okay? And this is the virtual folder name down here in the bottom is called wearable hair. You'll be able to see these on your monitor as bright as day, okay? So it tells us where we are, okay? So now if I come here to shaders and I inject this, okay, wood shader, this is 2,578 items. So I'm going to inject this, okay? Now we're on page 1 of wood shader, and it says down here, wood shader, tab 7, wood, building wood, which is the name of our panel, okay? So we're on tab 7. So it gives you precise locations of where you are so that you don't come to this page and just get despondent and say, where the heck, what was that, all right? It kind of marks it in your mind, okay? And so now, instead of just going from, let's go to page 12, okay, of this wood one, okay? Now, what's going to happen when I hit the back button? I was looking for a heart with a do not line draw diagonally across it. I'm hoping closing OneDrive is going to fix that issue with this. So, yes. So, what is going to happen when we hit the back button, okay? That's the question. Is it going to take us back to the previous collection? We're not going to go back to the previous page. We're going back to the previous collection that we had installed. And let's see. So this takes us, remember, back to hair, back to page 6, okay? And it says we are in folder wearable hair, tab 3, ready to use. And that is correct. You see, so now what if I load ground 2? Now this is from the green panel. Or what if I load the HDRI scan? Or what if I load a compartment? Or what if I load the EZ Designer and I put that in instead of this? And like, let's just do the EZ Designer. We'll go to our DUF. We'll load DUF. Okay, we'll go to EZ Designer. Now remember, we're on page 6 of hair, okay? And now we go to asset type, and let's inject, let's go to preset material, okay? We'll inject 351,000. Well, go to preset pose. 105,000 items, okay? Now remember we were on page 6 of hair, okay? And now we have just injected 105,391 items, okay? So now let's go, where we got 694 pages. Let's go to page 300 and let's kind of paginate up through this, okay? And so we're going to paginate up through this. And when we click the back button, we want to go back to hair, okay? And so we click back, and it took us to page 6 of hair, tab 3, ready to use. See, all of these cases now are pretty rock solid. They all work. Whether if we use the EZ Reader, now we're at page 6 of this. Let's open the EZ Reader. Let's take a bunch of products from the EZ Reader and we'll inject them in. I'm going to find the only case that's broken, probably. I'm hoping not, okay? So now we close this. Let's go to page, we got 29 pages that we just injected. Let's go to page 15. All right. Now when we click the back button, we should go back to hair of our hair and back to hair. Page 6 of hair. Do you see that? See, so this may not seem like much, okay? But it actually is, knowing that, because I'm going to show you something here. Now, these DSX files, okay? This program does a lot of stuff. It does so much. Now, these DSX files, okay? These are actually products, okay? So when I double click on this, now everything else is turned off except this, so we're just going to load DSX. Now, when I go through these 82 pages of products, and there's like almost a couple hundred per 100 or so, depending on how much you have per page, okay? And so we have all of these products, and as we go through them, we'll go to page, let's say we got 82 pages. Let's go to page 33. All right. And now this is, I believe, I'm not sure who made this. This is the animated dandelions. This is iReal. I think the philosopher made this. It may be also, it may have been made by Riversoft. But what happens is when I see this, you see, EZFinder changes, okay? Because when all these other ones, it knows their files. But when you go to this DSX one, okay, it says load products, okay? So it is, and I don't believe you can select select products and then load them. This would be interesting to see. Load all 11. No, it doesn't. So I believe, yeah, in this particular case, it just loads the one product you have selected. Okay, and when you click on it, you have to wait, and it reads your Daz library and finds the products, okay? So this is this DSX one here in the corner here. Let's go full screen again, okay? See this DSX, you check that, all right, and you double click on this DSX, all right, and it loads this DSX, okay, and then we can go to like page like 22 or something up here, and then this like Santa suit, okay, I click on that, and this comes with a lot of stuff, okay, so 52 items found for this Santa suit that are part of this product. So when I load the product, okay, I can come in here, and these are all of the items that come with this product, okay? when you click the back, when you're done adding this into the thing, you may want to go back to products, okay? We are back. Okay, so Matt, to catch you up, okay, we have now down in the bottom, now when I inject something from the compartments, down in the bottom it's going to say multiple compartments, okay? Because if you see, I have this compartment and that compartment, and these 5 compartments. It's always going to say multiple compartments pretty much for the compartments, okay? But you'll know that what you're looking at, it's like, oh yeah, I injected that from compartments, okay? The back button is now, I believe, fully functional, okay? This was really, really hard to get the back button to work in every possible combination of scenarios, okay? And so whether if you are injecting HDRI scan and then you inject virtual folder, or you inject a virtual folder and then you inject a compartment, or you inject a compartment or a virtual folder or the HDRI scan, and then you, on top of that, you inject the designer, you want to be able to go back. And the same thing with the reader. Or what if you, and this was an issue, what if you inject the virtual folder once, okay, one virtual folder, and now it says we're at leather shaders, fabric, plastic, okay? And then what if I decide to inject back to back another virtual folder, a different one? They don't merge, they just clear and inject another. So I just injected the hair folder. What happens when I go back? Well, it takes me back to the leather shader, to the exact same page I was on. And it happened, and it works for, like, if you inject, there are so many things you can inject into this center thing. You can inject the compartments. You can inject the green panel, which is here. You can inject HDRI scans, or the HDRI scan, or the external scan. You can inject the EZ Designer items. You can inject the EZ Reader items. They're all different ways of finding your content, okay? And then you can also inject your tab. You can inject these virtual folders from your tabs, okay? So each one of these virtual folders you can inject in. And so I just injected the CR2 folder with 6,941 items, okay? And then there's 46 pages of them. I can go now to page, let's say, 28, okay? Go to page 28. Now I just injected that. Now it tells me I'm in virtual folder CR2, files tab 6, okay? And we are in the props. Down here, see, this is new, okay? This is new today. We are in the props panel, okay? So if you forget where, like, what folder was that and what, okay? Then, okay, so we're on page 28 of this. Now, what if I come up here to, well, let's say the EZ Designer, okay? And I click Asset Type, and it should find with subtype here. Okay, it's not going to find anything because we have DSX selected, so we unselect that. This will still come back. We're on page 28. And let's select Duff, okay? It doesn't find a lot of stuff when it comes to product because it's just really an image, okay? So now we go to subtype or asset type. Now we should see a bunch of things here. So we'll just pick something else. Let's pick this something 4,000 scene. Okay, we'll go with scene. We're going to type in, inject all of these scenes in, okay? These are asset types, okay? So we'll inject the scene into the main UI. Now, what just happened to the last, what was it? What did we have last? Well, the program remembers that. So we close this down, and now we're looking at all of these scenes that were injected from this from the EZ Designer filter maker. It's a EZ Designer creates designer filters that you can use to isolate certain kinds of content. Okay, it's another way of isolating content. Okay, so as you can see, it did a pretty good job isolating these scenes. There's 29 pages. Some of them aren't scenes, but look at this. This is scene after scene. Okay, let's click it. And this took us to page 28 of our CR2 files, tab 6, props folder. See, it remembered. So we're talking about kinds of libraries, okay? So every time you switch to a different kind of library. So if I were to inject, now this was an injection from the, this CR2 was an injection from here. If I inject HDRI, this is a different kind of library, okay? Then I can go to page, say, 23, all right, 20, let's go page 21, all right? Of my HDRI, I can kind of paginate through them. I can work in this and just kind of do a bunch of things and then say, okay, now I have to go back to my CR2 folder. All right, it's there, page 28, it works. Page 28, which was that previous kind of library, okay? And this happens with every combination. So this is one kind of library. The ballroom blitz, that's funny. The compartments. This is one kind of library, okay? The HDRI scan is another kind of library. Your external scan, your poses that you bring in from outside of Daz, that's another kind of library. Your see, I could have just said, well, we just won't have a back button, okay? So you're just, if you want to go back, you have to find whatever it was you were working with, and that's it. So that is, but I really like the idea of a back button. But the way the back button works is with the kinds of libraries. Like if you're on a certain page, you just go back to the previous page, okay? So I can go to page 27, 26, okay, within the library, okay? But now we have EZ Designer, that is the filter designer. That creates a kind of library when it injects it in, okay? We have EZ Reader. This is what I showed you yesterday. This creates another kind. I can select these here and inject them into Daz like this, all right? And this is going to replace this with another kind of library. This is the product. These are from specific products that you have joined together into one kind of library, okay? And so I can now work with this and go to page 12, okay? In this product library that we've put in here, okay? I can go to page 13. I can go around. I can put in another number, page 2, okay? Because it's working with this kind of library. We're in there. I can take these items and drag them into a virtual folder and create a virtual folder. But when I click back, it takes me back to page 26 of my CR2 down here. See this? CR2 files, tab 6, props, okay? And that is this. This is this props, this tab 6, props, and it tells you, so because what's going to happen is you're going to end up with all of these tabs full, I mean absolutely full of folders. Why isn't mine full of folders? Because I'm busy making this program for you people. I haven't had the time that I really wish I had to go through my library and curate it and get it into perfect folders for everything that I want to find, everything I need, everything I want to put my hands on. But what will happen with you is you don't have to make the program, okay? You just have to use it. And so you're going to use this to curate your library to put, and so each one of these is going to have your folder names. You'll name panel 22 here and name it like maybe blonde hair or whatever. Who asked that question though? I've thought about this, Art. This is why when I come in here and I say to people, why don't I have this full of Daz content? And the reason being, I know, that's a good question, Art. It's because I think about these things. When I look at this and I say, oh, darn, my content is a mess, because I don't have time right now because I am busy completely. I just spent all day fixing the back button and all night. I was up until 5 in the morning. We are back. So, but what I envision is that people who don't have to spend every day, like I get up, when I go to bed at night, I say, thank God that feature got completely, I usually don't want to go to bed until a certain feature is fixed or added in. And so I will just push myself, and then I get up, and I want, you don't have to work on these features, you just use them. And so this is why when I look at this and I envision how you will use it, I see that you will have these all full, like my shaders. I have done some work here in shaders. Okay, let's go full screen here again. With shaders, you can see there's quite a few, but I could just look at this right now and say, well, there might be felt shaders, okay? They're like just one of these I could take and like this glass folder, okay? This is my glass shader, okay? I wouldn't mind having like one for stained glass and one for clear glass, like have an entire panel just for glass, okay? Metal, I have like metal here, this metal folder. You see, I haven't had a chance to break them down more. Now this metal folder, panel here, this says metal, okay? I have 17,000, and I'm not even done yet curating my shaders yet. But look at all these metals. It'd be nice to have like metals that are like silver or chrome. Put all the silver and kind of chrome ones together, the gold ones in another folder named gold, okay? All under metal. So I could come in here and say new folder and say gold, okay? And say new folder, okay, I spelled that wrong. Alphabetical order got fixed, okay? Rename, GOLD. Okay, and we come here, alphabetical order got fixed, and a new folder, and the brass. Okay, you get the idea. Okay, let's change the color. It's a little bit too dark. And we can go here and say new folder, silver. Silver. You see, so in these metals here, it would be really nice to be able to have different metals. And then we have corrugated, rusted, okay? So it's just they're being able to break these down into different folders and then go through my metal shaders here and say, and there's like pink copper, you know, or copper, even copper just alone, see? Copper, okay? So being able to break them down, and I might, by the end, have, now what about like black metals and glossy metals and things like that, burnished metals that are kind of scratched metal, okay? You see, so these are all, this is the kind of thing that you have brushed metals, okay? This helps you when you go through old metal, okay? It's you embossed metal, you see? So these are rusted metal, okay? And so you just come in here and you come up with rusted. And this is like what I've not been able to do because I'm busy making this for you, but you won't have that stigma. You'll be able to just come in and casually over time, just you. And so this is why it's important to me. So now when I click, now we've been using this metals folder. Okay, when I click back, it's going to take me back to glass. Remember we had the glass folder in here? Okay. You see, so this is why these features, I am working with these features to make it so when you go to use this. And another thing, you see this little, when I have to paginate up here, okay? This was really hard to do, okay? This took hours to get this to work. But because I all of a sudden decided that I hated clicking on this little button, okay? Because I have to bring my mouse up and then I have to get my mouse on that little button and then I have to click it to go to the next page. And that really kind of bugs me, okay? So now you can just use the keyboard, the arrow keys on your keyboard, the right and left arrow keys to go back and to go ahead. But you see, it wasn't that simple to just come in and say, well, just hook this to the arrow keys, okay? Because sometimes you have these, when you click on that, then you have to still go ahead with the arrow keys, okay? When I insert these items into the, okay? And this has the focus, but as soon as those are done loading, it brings the focus back to here, okay? So I can now, you see, it has to change the focus back to here. So I'll come over here. Okay, I don't think you're seeing this, okay? So when I are over here, okay, when I load one of these in, okay, see this little teeny button, I just didn't like having to click on it all the time. Because it just bothered me having to come up here. It's not that tiny on my 4K monitor, but it's just I had to like kind of find it and put my mouse over it. Now all I have to do is hit the right arrow key and it paginates for me to the next page and the next page. But the thing, it wasn't, like I said, so easy to do this because what I had to do was come in here. And like when I select this stone, see, instead of Duff, now I've loaded a different kind of library. And as soon as that gets loaded, it has to bring the focus back to here, okay? So now it works, you see? Now, if I come here and I click on a virtual folder and I say, okay, load that in, all right? It's a different kind of data, all right? Then after that's loaded in, it has to bring the focus back to here. Did it work? There it is. We're on page 2. We're on page 3, you see? And the same thing with the HDRI scan down here, a different kind of library, a different kind of data. As soon as you double click and that finishes, it brings the focus back to here. And now we're on. With the keyboard, computer keyboard, you can just paginate through. You see, you don't have to put your mouse on this little teeny button every time you want to paginate. Thanks for the love. That was very kind. See, I'm thinking of you guys, and I'm thinking about how to make this easy for you to just paginate through like this with your keyboard. You just touch the arrow key and then you can paginate through. That's what today is about. Now, EZReader is very new, okay? I'm gonna be very surprised if this works. I'm gonna inject this into the organizer, into the main UI. Now, did this bring the focus back to here? And look at that. It is working. I don't know that it worked the first time, but it worked. I didn't have to push any other button. I didn't have to click anything. Let's try it again. Let's go to this gold shader, which isn't gold. As you can see, I didn't have enough time to actually put any gold shaders in there. So it's a dream. These are actually floor tiles, ground bricks and stuff. And then these, and I don't even see one gold shader in here. So it's obviously just a kind of dream folder. One of these days when the program's done, I'll actually be able to organize my content. So let's go back to EZReader, okay? And let's now inject a bunch of these in again. Without clicking the mouse or doing anything, I am going to just close this to get it out of the way. All right? Does it paginate? And you see what it did was it grabbed. See, it needs to be fixed because it took the focus up here first, and then when I moved the mouse, when I went arrow key again, then it went back, and now it works. It works, but it didn't work right, okay? So that's the only thing. This was just added like yesterday, this EZReader, or the day before. I can't remember. They're all kind of blurred in. But this EZ Designer, okay? Now we have the DUF file selected. Select the subtype. Okay, I always get them wrong. We'll do wearables. Okay, we inject this in. Does the, so at least the pagination works on that. Now we go in here. Does this work? Now see, so this one needs the focus put back in, okay? After clicking a bunch of times, it finally found the focus, okay? So we have just two instances where it took a moment. Now, if you click in here, you know, it will put the focus there, okay? 5, 6. You see, it will put the focus there anyway, but it's supposed to automatically do that, so you can just start paginating. So that's, this is so, but at least for the most part, when you come over here and you click and you import this in, this was the hardest one, was having where you click here and the focus you would think would be on this. No, it has to be transferred. And as you can see, this one is already highlighted, waiting to be paginated. You see? So most of the work is done on this. And the other two, they actually work, but you just have to, until I go have a chance to fix them, they still work. They still paginate with it. So this is, it's a matter of getting every single type of content, every library type, and figuring out the case for each one. So yes, here it is. So now the EZ Reader, I think I showed you guys yesterday that now you can click here and it will sort from top to bottom. This is the same with author. It will change from Z to numbers from A to Z back and forth, so it alphabetically reverts to, and the same with SKU numbers. You can click here and it will align the SKU numbers into order, okay? So that you can go and say, if you know that roughly by like SKU number, like, I don't know, 10,500, that's when Genesis 3 began. You can, and we also now have this little bar here that you can click to expand this so that you can read this entire, see it all in one glance. There are, as you can see, 12,000 products here, okay, listed here. And I can just click on any particular product and load its items. So, and then we're right here. These are all of the items. And it tells me down here, this is D-Force Summer Vibe Outfit. You see this? It is so, these little things down here are so important for it to pop in and just tell you, this is what you have loaded, okay? So that once you have it here, you say, oh, what was that again? And then you go back here and you say, now where was that again? All right? Yes, you see all of these, the SKU numbers are very helpful with this. And so you don't need to, so you can sort by catalog SKU, which this actually does the same thing. But what this does is it reverses it. Where this doesn't, it just brings you up and says you're going to be looking at it by them progressively in that order. But if you just click this, it will align that order. So, and you just bring this over and now you're looking at the whole, at everything. You can go by author, and then you, as you scroll down through the authors, you can see that they're all in lists. This is very helpful also. Okay, it's just, it teaches you who the authors are of all of our content, okay? Who these people are that this, I really, really, really like this a lot. And, you know, it's like, then you could say, okay, I'd like to take all of Betty's items and just look at them all, okay? So now this loaded 15 pages of items. So the thing is that I believe that it does complain if you do more, like a lot, like, you know, 50 of an artist's items. It does complain about that, where it, so you need to do them in pieces, in parts, okay? So you could do one of the most prolific artists maybe in 3 sections, okay? And you can put them all in one. Virtual folders don't mind, okay? It's just that these are kind of working with the product. Now, what were we looking at before? And we can go back. And remember, we were looking at the Summer Vibe outfit. You see, so it took us back to that other library. Do you see? So this, and it works across types. So now we haven't talked a lot about the Easy ISO shader. This is a very cool product here. This product I really needed to, so we come in here and we go to our shaders and we select, let's go to rock, and we'll go with ground shaders. We'll pick one, all right, and then we bring that back up to the top. Here we go, Easy ISO shader, open slots, and we can bring this over here for now. And we create a couple more slots, and like this. And we can scroll over and back. Okay, then we can grab some of these. Let's see what ground looks like. Drag them in. And we drag this one over here. That's procedural, so it doesn't work with procedural. It automatically converts 3D Light to Iray when you drag it in. Yes, that one was another thing I had to mess with. Okay, there's another procedural. And there's a possibility I might be able to add, okay, another procedural. I might be able to add some, okay, that one's got images. I might be able to add even procedurals into this, okay? We'll see. That will be an update for the next version of this. So let's see what this is. Okay, that one's got a few images. All right, let's see what we have. Let's pick a different shader now. Asphalt. Don't have very many of them, but let's see if this says map. Okay, that's a procedural. What about this one? It says Iray. Nope, another procedural. So I don't know the number of, okay, shaders. Okay, the number of building wood. Let's go to wood shaders. The ratio of, and it does 4K, it does every kind of, every size. So this one, let's try that one. Another procedural. But there's a lot of shaders that use textures too. So that's what this is for, how about these? There's one, okay? And we probably can use this one too. Yeah, all of these are image shaders. What about this wood? There's another one. That's going to add a nice little, and let's see what we can find for building special. Let's see. Dots. Dots, most of these are going to be procedural, but let's see. That one. Nope, that's procedural. And how about this in polka dot white? Now that one's got an image, okay? So there we go. These are all of our, so we have our shaders here. So now what we do is we select base color and we pick one of these to be the base color. I'd say this polka dot one. And then the glossy color, we'll pick roughness, okay? Glossy roughness, we'll pick this one. And SS color, we'll pick this. Translucency color, we'll pick that. Whatever you want, all right? Normal map, you definitely want to pick one of these that has some activity to it. We'll pick that one. All right, bump strength. Let's go with this. And displacement. I don't know a lot about textures, and so I just don't know a lot. But all right, this is enough. Okay, now let's we have to open Daz. This is part of, somebody said polka. They did. So you have to wear your polka dots while you polka. Yes, you do. So all right, we're going to insert a sphere. There is a beautiful sphere. And we go like that, and then we go here to Edit, Object. Let's add some sub D to smoothen it out and make it pretty. Now we have to make sure we have it selected, okay? So we go to Surfaces and Sphere. It's quite easy. That's it. Now what we do is we inject this, and this is Daz 4. So we inject it to Daz Studio, just like that. Apply to Daz, and look at it go. All right. Now you'll notice that it has all of these. Now we take our base color, and we have to change that to white. Not sure why that happens, but look at this now. So we can take the translucency weight down. All right, or we also didn't add any bumps. Now okay, we did add a bump map. And now we have these little kind of things. The bump map and the other map are kind of competing. You look at, these are all of our items that we brought in. Okay, there's our displacement strength. What do these do? So I'm not sure exactly. When we turn that off, it's a little bit smoother. It does something to it. So this is it's just a kind of dream that I had, okay? That to be able to blend shaders into whatever, so you can take any shader that you own and create a new shader, a new animal. I call these animals, they're just different animals, where each one is a completely living, each shader is a living thing, okay? It's amazing how this is. It's kind of like DNA and changing pieces of code, you know, in your DNA. Viral, this is an infection. So this is, and you've got the spots now. It's polka spots. So yeah, this is a polka spot shader. So yes, so this is how this works, okay? So I think this is pretty cool. If you look at it up close, look at the character here. So and really, it didn't take much like knowledge. All I had to do really was come in here and change the base color to white, okay? And that was it. I didn't really have to do much else. Now let's change it to blue. Look at that now. So yeah, this it's something that anyone can do, okay? Is to just come in, and you see, if you think that you might have thought, well, you know, I can just do that in Daz. I can come in here and load different images in here. Yes, you can. You can use that to cover seams so that you can still use other shaders and the seams are less noticeable. And what it saves you is having to go and manually open these and browse and go back out of this shader and go in and find another shader and another image, find a normal map image or whatever to come in. It just enables you. And when I go into this browse, now I have this folder here with other normal maps, and it just kind of it enables you to get the images in a very kind of interesting, easy way. And we open these slots. We can switch them around. We can take this, and let's instead put this one there, okay? And we'll put the polka dots where our leaf one was. So we select that, and we turn this off and on. Now let's inject to Daz. Apply. All right, now we have to bring this back on. This is one error that, okay, look at this now. You see? Now we have this metallicity on. We could turn that down a little bit. Look at that. You see? It's a new animal. You see that? It's just a completely new animal. Now, there are copyright issues, okay? You can't just make a shader with this and sell it, okay? Maybe you can, but it all really depends on how much you change it, okay? How very radically different it is from, because these images are owned by, and you are technically selling an image that you don't own, okay? But you can put them on your Daz figures, on your Daz clothing, and any kind of thing in Daz, because you did buy the shaders. You are able to mix these and put them into your Daz scenes and use them 100% legally, okay? Now, taking and creating a new shader from this and selling it, I would not recommend doing that, okay? You need to create your own images, okay? The HDRI problem, okay? There are 5,000 HDRI files, okay, in your Daz library. And what EZFinder does is it searches and finds every one of them. It converts that, opens each one, yes, or hexagon. It opens each one of them. Daz they do not want to get spread too thin. And so they've kind of put all of their eggs into one basket, and you can't blame them, because it just, Daz in itself is a handful. And so I believe that like with the HDRI, it just takes somebody with a lot of time to solve these problems, because Daz sees the HDRI problem as too big to solve. They see the content problem, like EZFinder, too hard. It's that to solve. Because, like, the first thing EZFinder does is it, like, punches the whole thing right in the face. It just comes right in and scans your entire Daz library. 1.7 million files. And the first time, my first scan for the Daz library took 24 hours to scan, and it didn't even complete. It crashed, like, right as the scan was finishing. Okay, I waited and waited for my computer to scan for 24 hours. And so the first EZFinder scan took 24 hours. And it was called EZ back then, and it was only trying to scan for scenes, okay? Just scenes, like, full scenes. And it took 24 hours. EZFinder scans everything, and it takes 20 minutes for a library with 1.7 million files. So yes, I solved the problem, okay? I solved it. I solved the scanning problem. I solved the searching content. Now, when you go in here and look at this, this is pretty cool, all right? It really is. This is a pretty cool texture. You could put this on a wall in a library or something, you know? You could just, it's pretty cool, okay? You can save this and load it now. It's something you can save. You can also save it here, okay? Ultimate shaders, easy ultimate. And we do not have a very, a set place for this, but I will save it in my C drive here, and Daz user data, okay. We'll call this new folder. And this one is called the Ultimate Shader. Saves. All right. All right, so then I can load this back in. And what's nice is you don't have to, I don't believe you have to have these slots filled for that to happen. But now you can also save this, and these are called shader slots. Okay, and it just says they're saved. Not sure where I saved them. But load slot, it'll tell us, okay. Slots layout, okay. So it saves that in the slots layout, okay. So it's, at least that one's got a place. This one is, now you can also import glTF files. I have not tested this to see if it works, okay. glTF are like, you can export shaders from like, what do you call it? From Adobe Substance Designer, and you can export them as in the it's like an open source GTIF file, okay? So you can get a bunch of them and load them in. And if you get a bunch, if you create your own GTIF files from that, you could use this to create new shaders that you could sell, okay? So this is a means of making money, okay? This program right here, by using this in conjunction, in connection with Daz, and loading it on and then saving it as a shader in Daz, you could sell them as Daz shaders, okay? So, all right, so that is Easy ISO Shader, okay? It isolates the textures, the images in a shader, and allows you to blend them, okay? That is part of EZFinder. Now back to what Art was saying about, so it took me a year, okay? It took me a year for EZFinder to come in conjunction. Thank you very much, That was the word. It's the conjunction of Venus and Mars with celestial North Pole. So a conjunction. And so, and then, so it took me a year, and all through that year, the scanning of the Daz library got refined more and more and more and more and more until, because I didn't want to scan files that I didn't need to scan. I didn't want to take and scan a file deeper than I needed to go, okay? You don't want to scan like all the geometry from a figure, okay, if we're not using that geometry, okay? And so that was the first problem, was that it was scanning, that I was scanning every file all the way to the end. And all I needed was like the beginning part of the file to skip over other parts. So yeah, the scanner had to be very, very, very smart, okay? And so it wouldn't scan. And then these compartments, like how many, they're like in this character folder here, okay? When I load this, okay, it just loaded 36,277 items. They're actually here, okay? There's 239 pages of them, and you can go right through them from page 1 all the way to 239, okay? And so these are characters, and these are the DUF files, and I just, there was so many decisions I had to make to do this, okay? And this one right here. So this is all just so that you can organize, so you can find your HDRIs, you can find your converted poses, you can organize, you can curate them, and that's the issue, is Daz's works here. Yeah, it's because they see this library with what they're not dealing with a library that's like, my library is 1.7 million files, okay? Their store library is probably 2 or 3 or 4 times as large as that, okay? So can EZFinder work with 2 or 3 million files? Yeah, it can. It can work with 2 or 3 million files just as easily as it can with 100,000. So, I mean, right now, when I click on all these compartments here, okay, and I double click, all right, look how long it took. 2 seconds to load 718,000 files. It took 2 seconds. Look, when I double click here, boom, 2, 1, 2. It loaded. Now I can go to page 2000. 1, 2. You see how quickly it went to page 2000, all right? So this is an entirely different technology than what Daz, not completely. Daz made this possible, okay? Daz made this possible. They just haven't made this kind of use to it. When you do a search in the Daz library for something, and it shows you 2 seconds later a whole list of stuff, that's this technology, okay? It's so Daz, in all of their wisdom, has made this possible, okay? It's just that I've done it in a very, like like what, I forget what his name was. He was in here last time. He said that, that it's all in one place, okay? And that's really kind of what this is. It's all in one place. It gives you all of these different, like all of your HDRIs. And another thing with the HDRIs, like Windows doesn't even by default give you an HDRI viewer. So if all of these HDRI files, when I put them all into a folder, there was no thumbnails for them. Okay? Windows doesn't make thumbnails by default for HDRIs. Okay? You have to install a thumbnail generator, and one of them is called Sage. And you download it, install it, and then it will show you thumbnails for your HDRIs. But what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that technology, okay, is that that when you open your HDRI file folder and you have 4,000, I have 5,116 HDRIs. 5,116 HDRIs. These images are huge. Some of them are 24K, okay? Some like 24,000 by 24,000 pixels, okay? And or 2,400. No, 2K would be 2,400. They're 24,000. Yes, you see, right. But the thing is, Art, when you open, yes, it works, but when you open that folder, if you remember, you're sitting there waiting for it like to paint the HDRIs. It has to open each one. Every time you open that Windows folder, it has to repaint them, okay? Now look at this. You see, how did I change this? Now when I change this page, boom, look how quickly these HDRIs load, okay? They are all just loading instantly, okay? See, so during the HDRI scan, each HDRI, yes, see, so this is exactly the kind of thing. And so I ended up with a folder of them, and then I had to load them one by one manually into my environment, okay? And with this, all I have to do is double click on this, and look, suddenly it's loaded right into my environment, okay? So all I have to do is double click on it right in here. See, and I couldn't do that with see, I had to sneeze. I could not do that when I had them all in one folder, okay? And I had to copy them. See, these HDRIs they're not copies of them. These are pointers to the ones in your Daz library, okay? And so if I were to say, oh, I don't need these anymore, and I can right-click, and I can remove them, okay, from this virtual folder, it doesn't delete them from the Daz library. It just deletes them from this particular folder, okay, that I've created over here. So this is how this works. And so what it does is it points to them. So you had to copy all of your HDRIs in this gigantic folder, okay? And then you had to actually go into Daz, and you had to select the environment. You had to come here to parameters. Okay, come back. And you had to open this file and browse for it and go to your folder, okay, and find it. And find the HDRI, load it, okay? And you see this actually just, when you double click, it's loading the actual HDRI from your Daz library. Okay? It's like you don't copy anything that you don't have to. All right? That's the way, the EZFinder way. All right? You never copy anything that you don't have to. Okay? So when this loads, it takes just as long to load here as it would take to load if you were in Daz and you were able to find it. So this is the HDRI scan was another scan. This was another scan that took hours to do at first. And then it got refined and down to the point. Now, the HDRI scanner takes the longest of all of the scans in EZFinder. This HDRI scanner can take up to an hour if you have a huge library like mine with 5,000 HDRIs. Because what it does is it looks and it says, is there already an image for it? And if there isn't an image for it, it opens up the HDRI, takes a snapshot of it, and creates an image for it. And it creates a very tiny image, okay, so that it's 256 by 256. So they load very quickly, like instantly, okay? So that so this is the way to do this, is to, and so it only has to open them once, and that's during the initial scan. And then if you open the HDRI scanner here, okay, this is it, okay, and all you have to do is tell it where your Daz library is here, and then click scan, and wait until it's done. And then it will create this here, and you double click on it, and you have all of your HDRIs. Now, once you buy new ones, okay, which I have done recently, I bought some new HDRIs. I did actually append. Then you click this append scan, and it does work. And it cuts down the scan time to a very short amount of time. From like an hour, which the HDRI scan used to take, at one point took like 6 or 7 hours. And at those times, all right, during this process, I kept thinking, this isn't going to work. Nobody's going to want to wait for a scan for 6 hours. I was hoping people might, you know, but I just thought, I almost quit like many times through this project. And that's why Daz doesn't do this, okay? Because they see the complexity more than anyone else does, okay? They see the enormity of this process of having to open 5,000, you know, and HDRIs. So yeah, and that's the thing, is you don't get that time back. You see, yeah, I can leave my computer and go and do something else, but it's just sitting and waiting for the HDRI scan to and now it's an hour. And then every time you buy new HDRIs, it's maybe 10, 15 minutes, okay? To rescan, okay? Now this one right here, where it scans your entire library, okay? The HDRI is scanning certain sections of your library. The reason why the HDRI one takes so long is because when it finds an HDRI that doesn't have an image, it has to open that gigantic image, take a snapshot, then close it again. And that process right there takes time, okay? Now, when it scans for these compartments, okay, like where you can load all of your DUF files all in one double click, like every injectable file, okay? Almost every injectable file. There's 3,565 pages. There's 541,000 items here, okay? 541,000 items. And then I just injected them like immediately into this, okay? So this this type of this scan only takes about 15 minutes, okay, to scan 1.7 million files. And there are all kinds of tricks that I use so I don't have to scan the whole file, so I can only grab exactly what I need, okay, so that this can happen. These images, none of these images are created by EZFinder. They are the product images. These are the images that come with the products. So they're just pointers also. It's just take and do as very limited, as small a make tiny files. And this whole compartment got redesigned several times to say how many files fit in a folder. Because inside here there's thousands of folders, okay? Thousands of them. Because you can't put 1 million files in a folder, even if they're little tiny ones. You can't put them in one folder in Windows. Windows doesn't like that, okay? And so you have to figure out what's the sweet spot. How many files, what's the most amount of files that I can put in one folder? Is it 3,000? Is it 5,000? Is it 10,000? Okay? You have to figure that out. And so that so these are all, like when it says there's 13 here, characters, there's 13. There's 13 folders. In each of those folders, there's like 20 folders with 3,000 items in them, okay? So it's kind of like that, all right? And these like this 1, 2, and 3 here, these are gigantic chunks of files, okay? In here is probably 12 folders with 10 folders in each one with 3,000 files in each one of those. Because in order for all of this to have like this entire compartment is what, 7,018 files, 718,000 files. So you have to break all of this up into folders, okay? So you don't have to do that. That's already been done. All of this work has been done. So you can just go to your the DUFs. You can double click and all of your DUF content will load here. All of your DUF content will load here, and then you can go and search for shoes, all right? And find all of your shoes here. All right, how long did that take? that took about 4, maybe 5 seconds, okay? There's 18 pages of shoes. You're searching everything. And I typed for shoes, okay? If you type just shoe, all right, you'll get, so we had 18 pages. We got to clear this out and type shoe. All right, we just type shoe, all right? And here it's going now again through 500,000 items. Now there's 21 pages, okay? Because the plural, you know, it found it more by just going shoe. So you take all of these, you drag them into a folder. Then you don't have to search again. You have your shoes folder. And then you can go into these shoes and you can break it down to sneakers. You can break it down to high heels. You can break it down to all of these sandals, flip-flops, you know, everything, loafers, you know, and the items tell you. These are called slouch boots, okay? There's boots, okay? There's chunky heeled, all right? There's canvas, inner sole, the canvas shoes, all right? So you can have them overlap. You can have as many things because these are teensy folded. Now, when you take these and you drag them into here, into a virtual folder, this over here creates even tinier files. It creates little teeny itsy bitsy files, okay? So that you can have thousands and thousands and thousands of them in here, and they're not going to even, like this many here with shaders or wardrobe, or the, like this. There's 1,250 files. There's in forest, I have 2,400 files. In desert, I have 2,010. You see these, and they load just like that in 2 seconds. And then we have fantasy, 11,000 files in fantasy. And it's like, okay, I'm on page 74 of it. I mean, page 1. Let's go to page 50. All right. How long does it take? 2 seconds. And we're on page 50 of our fantasy folder. This fantasy folder you can break down into fantasy clothes, fantasy this, fantasy that, fantasy armor, fantasy whatever, fantasy headdresses, fantasy everything. You can just break it all down into different things by using the search. And the search is very smart. It gives you 2-word search, so it's precise. If it's like a blue bracelet, okay, it's not going to be everything that says that's blue and everything that's bracelet. It's going to be blue bracelet, okay? That's it, okay? So that's the thing, is that you can search. The search is very precise. Yes, you can search for everything blue and you can search for everything bracelet, but you can search for blue bracelet also, or aquatic fantasy, all right? And you're going to find all of these items here, okay? So this is how this works. The idea is tiny, teensy files that live over top of your entire Daz library, okay? That you can delete, you can move and mix and do all of those things with them. And you can put them into folders like Bazaar. This is Bazaar, okay? Everything that has to do with the Bazaar, okay? And all I did was search for Bazaar, and this is what I came up with. 2 pages of all this Bazaar stuff. This should excite you. There's even like a couple of few Persian rugs here, some Bazaar books, and Bazaar vases. And yeah, and so these items are pretty cool. Now, 3 Delight. Let's see if this actually injects. Okay, let's get rid of the sphere. We have to find the actual OBJ files. These, as you can see, are different colors, okay? Spices, you can use the different colors. This might be the actual one. Which one says OBJ? Spice. Okay, these are actual OBJ files. They'll go in. I don't know that that's what we're wanting here, but yeah, that's an OBJ. And then you can put a texture, but I'm sure that these spices come also in as stuffs. Where are they? These are, okay, let's see if, I don't think these are, no, those are the actual, one of these is going to say OBJ. Now these are OBJs. We need the actual duff that is the OBJ. Spice is tall. Oh, okay. These are them. Okay, this spice is tall, and this one is spice is small, and that's there as well. So we get rid of the tall one. There's a small. Then you can take this right here, spice is small, and you can add these array textures. We make it green. Or we can make it yellow. I mean orangey yellow kind of. There it is. See how cool this is? And you can take this top part here and add your own shader on this. So you can make your own shaders in the Easy ISO shader. Kind of looks like bread or something, dough. Looks yummy. So what else do we have? Spices. This looks like cardamom or something. I don't know. And we go back here. Back here. What are these? That may be the one I just had. Okay, that might be for a different product. Okay, those are 3 Delight. We need the iRay ones here. There we go, some beans. So this is pretty cool, and these are kind of meant to be a little bit further away. So they're meant to kind of look like beans, but yeah. It's very cool. So this is how this works, people. It's just all very good. Rex, I noticed you've not yet had a stupid question. Allow me. This just documents inventories where it is and doesn't actually duplicate the file in the group you made. Right, thanks. Okay, this is a good question. What it does, okay, it doesn't duplicate the file, okay? What it does is create pointers that are very, 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 like kilobytes, okay? That point to the files, okay? And so, yes, it does create files. But these files are very tiny, okay? So, like my Daz library is like almost 4 terabytes, okay? I think it is actually 4 terabytes, 4,000 gigabytes, okay? Of Daz, of those 1.7 million files add up to about 4,000 gigs. Where the very most that your entire, having your, like all of these compartments and all of these created folders here and all of these that are in here and more, because as like you said, I haven't been able to spend as much time but still, I mean, my favorites here, I've got my favorite Genesis 9, I got my 9 favorite skins, I've got my favorite ghost lights, I've got my favorite scripts here, I've got my favorite shapes here, okay? My favorite kind of pants, wardrobe, skull caps, the skull caps that I need to go under hair sometimes. These are just a few of them, but they're the kind that just instantly work. Color works, hair shaders, okay, so that I can just instantly change the color of mesh hair. See, so, but these are all now comparative. The very most that you would probably, that EZFinder would ever occupy on your hard drive, and you want it on your fast hard drive. You want it on the same drive that you have, you know, that your M.2, your fastest M.2. You want that user data folder there, so it's fast, okay? And so the most it would take up would be, I would say, the very most would be maybe 20. Let's look at my folder, okay? I've been kind of gathering everything into it, okay? We go here to I have my HDRI scans here. I have my poses scans, okay? Let's right click, copy as path, properties. 2 gigs, all right? All of these scans, okay, all of these files that I told you were in thousands of folders, okay? And my HDRI scan is in that folder, and my poses scan, and all of these tabs and all of these folders. There's 12,000 files in there. There's 3,000 files in old, 780, 53,000 files, 53,000 files. No, excuse me, 537,000 files in this one folder, okay? And that's saved in that folder. I tell you right now, I have made miracles happen here, okay? And that equals 2.17 gigs, okay? Compared to the Daz library, which takes up 4 terabytes, okay? So yeah, and I'm telling you that you're not going to just all of a sudden find out, oh yeah, but there's that other folder that has all the data, and that takes up 500 gigs. No, there's no other folder. This is it. This is where there's one user data folder, okay? And here this is, I chose to call it EZFinder user. You can call it whatever you want, okay? But it's where now if you go in here, all right, here's where my configs go, actually the configs, EZ library, here's where those compartments that are all on the left. Now when I right click here, all right, and properties, okay, there's 897 megabytes. That takes up a huge chunk. That's what brings all of that rich data, not all of it, a good chunk of it into EZFinder is through those compartments. And then you create much tinier files once you're inside that go in the folders, okay? So that's really the breadth life of the whole program, is that first scan that you do, that like I said, takes 15 to 20 minutes, and you're done. And then if you ever need to scan it again, then you click the append button, which is right here. Okay, see this append button? You click that, and then you click scan again. And it just scans your library again. And here's where you put your Daz library address in, okay? And you just leave that there forever, okay? You just don't mess with that. And then you click. So the first time you open this, you tell it, it won't open. And so what I did was in my application to them, I put the entire user's manual. We have, and this has a user's manual, okay? And I will show you the user's manual. Oh, and it's on my other computer. Let me go to my other computer. All right, and I will show you what you will get for a user's manual. The user's manual's done. I've done my work. You know, it's done, people. All right, so EZFinder program files, users manuals. Okay, we have it in both Word and PDF format. Here's the Word document. Okay, EZFinder user's manual, table of contents, and the thing is, it's only 22 pages. You might say, well, that's a lot, but it was 250 pages, and I condensed it way, way, way down, wrote it in like shorthand. Yeah, so this is your, like table of content. What is EZFinder for Daz Studio? System requirements, first time setup and configuration. That's what I was going to tell you. Let's go to first time setup and configuration here, down here. Requirements. Okay, when you run EZFinder for the first time, you must, that should be like in bold, designate a user data location folder. So, and it says, before the main UI opens, this folder stores all EZFinder data and configurations. Step 1, okay, setup process. User data folder selection. Create a folder wherever you choose, recommended on the fastest M.2 drive. Okay? This location is not easily changed later. Choose a location with 5 to 8 gigs of space. You see, I'm only using 2, but probably the very most that you would ever use with this might be 8, okay? Recommended location, D, EZFinder data. That's probably a good name for it, okay? Or user data, EZFinder user data, whatever, or my EZFinder data, whatever you want to call it, all right, or similar. The data is migratable if Daz library paths remain the same. So if you get a new computer, make sure that you put your Daz library on the same, like, D drive, and then you create that whatever you call your user data on that D drive, then you can just copy that entire folder and it will work. Okay? Okay, got another Arthur type question. Have you tried a cold install? Yes, that's what this is. Okay, see when I switch over to this other computer, this is the cold install computer, okay, working with, and it has the EZFinder data on a different drive. Like this computer doesn't have a D drive, where this computer has my entire Daz library installed on the C drive. That's been done on purpose, and it has my user data. Yes, so it has my user data folder on the C drive, so that I'm sure that there's not going to be any pathing issues, because there's a difference between relative paths and absolute paths. And Daz inside EZFinder, it uses absolute paths, but outside of it, it uses relative paths. And then an EZFinder also exports to Daz, okay? So you can take all of these folders here. You can take this entire tree of folders, everything, all of your tabs, and it exports the entire thing to Daz. And when it does that, then you're talking about 100 gigs, maybe 50 gigs, 40 gigs, okay? Because Daz, when it exports back out to Daz, it's not exporting like whole products, okay? It's exporting, again, pointers, but they're Daz pointers. They're not proprietary EZFinder pointers, okay? They're Daz pointers, and those pointers are bigger than EZFinder pointers, okay? And so if you want to use your folder setups, it's not huge. We're talking, okay, say I think I've exported it already here. Let's see how big my export is, okay? So we go to this PC, the C drive here, and where is this now? It's somewhere in here. User content, exported workspace, okay? This is, see, these are all of my, see these? It says environment, favorites, hair, people, poses, props, shaders, wardrobe. They're all in here, okay? So if and you go look in and so you can see the data's here, environments all. These are all of the, you see they had to be exported in Daz type form, but still they're not exporting the data part of it. They're still exporting Daz's pointers, okay? Pointers that Daz uses internally, but they're not the actual files, okay? So, but they're bigger than EZFinders, okay? The ones in time, so you don't have to export to Daz. You can just use EZFinder and just like double click and bring things right in through here right into Daz. You don't have to export to Daz. But if you want to, you can. That's right over here where it says export all to Daz, okay? And so this folder here with all of these, most of what you see here, okay? I don't think these two large groups were in this, okay? These are things that I've just done. But they're not incredibly huge, but they've got a couple thousand in each folder, okay? Neighborhood is empty. We can get rid of that. So I didn't find anything for neighborhood in the library. So let's see how big this is, okay? So we go here to up one more. This is the exported workspace. Properties, okay? So this is... See, it's bigger. It's bigger than it is internally in EZFinder, okay? This is another reason why, because the Daz format itself is kind of chunky, all right, compared to what I have been able to create. So within EZFinder, all of these folders are only about, they're not even a gig, okay? But when you export them out to Daz again, if you want to use them within your Daz library, okay, and I'll show you where they appear in there. We're already up to 10 gigs, okay? So, and it's not even, I can show you where my virtual folders are and compare. So this is up to 10 gigs right now, 11 gigs. So I don't use this. I don't use the exported stuff. I have EZFinder open in another monitor, and I use it I just use that with Daz. I use them together. And if I need, everything I need, I can inject right from EZFinder. And so I can curate and create all kinds of folders and all kinds of stuff and not create tons and tons of data. We're already up to 17 gigs. Back from the further hinterlands. Angus, welcome, dear friend. Welcome. Lovely to have you here. So we are talking about a difference between 23 gigs for this Daz, 23 gigs, which is actually a ton of curation, okay, versus, okay, what we have for EZFinder. Now our virtual folders are here, and this properties, okay, is 183 megabytes. Okay, so all of these virtual folders here, they're 23 gigs, or 23 gigs to export them to Daz. But if you just leave them here, they're 183 megabytes. It's us, Angus. We're here. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, so exporting it to Daz. Now I'll show you where these exports show up in Daz, okay? Close this. So if you export them, I have enough space, so 23 gigs, and even if it was 40 gigs, okay, it's that's not even 100 gigs, okay? All right? When you're talking about the entire Daz library being, and some of these folders here, like some of this folder here in People All has 122,000 files in it. It's almost that entire Daz library in one, and it's still only 100 megabytes for the entire thing, okay? So this, and when I load this in, okay, into here, into EZFinder, and I load this People All right, double click, look how quickly it loaded. And it's pointing, it's pulling all this data from, and this is this is 805 pages, and this is the items from People All. There's 122,253 items here. And so so in here would probably be every Victoria item in the world, okay? All of your Victoria, everything. 14 pages of Victoria, everything Victoria. So out of all of those, okay? And that's 2,000 Victoria items, okay? From Victoria and Michael poses to everything. So that's the difference, is that using EZFinder, you're not creating data, okay? You're like the entire program with all of this scanning, with my HDRI scanning, with this pose library here, is 19,000 poses that were converted to Genesis 9. Also these coming in here, these poses, they're only taking up, all of this together is 2 gigs. All right, so, which is a lot, you know, when you're talking about Bill Gates, 512 megabytes of RAM is, you know, nobody would ever need more than that. And it's like, my first computer only had a 1.5 gigabyte hard drive. Well, my first computer had a tape tape hard drive where you load it in, and it had, my Commodore had like, didn't even have a hard drive. It had like a floppy disk, and you load that into the RAM. So, but now, I mean, when we have, now people have 4 terabyte and 2 terabyte M.2s and everything, 2 gigs to be able to curate your entire library. And this, like I said, these compartments, this is almost every single file. Like when I load this in, this is 718,000 files, okay? They're in these folders, okay? And these are teeny, tiny, teeny files. All of these files that are in here are included in that 2 gig, all right? So this is what this is about, is because this is the only way. I thought, I'm not going to be able to make this program if I can't make these files as tiny as possible. Nobody's going to want to mirror their Daz library, okay? And so they had to be as tiny as possible. So when I click on these, and you can see it's showing the items, okay? And it's showing information. It's not just like a pointer. It actually it knows stuff about what it is, okay? It knows where it's located, okay? It knows related items, okay? And like these files right here, these DSX files, they know what products. When I these are all of your product. You know how when you go through products in Daz? These are all of your products. I have 82 pages. There are 12,000 products, okay? And as I go through these products and I click on them, it takes a moment, but it goes in, looks at the products, and says, every time you click on this, and boom, now these are all of the products that go with that image. Okay, it's the same way when you click on products and it shows you the default and all of the different products within it, materials and all that. It shows you, see, we have objects and materials, okay? So it shows you, it breaks down every product. This is new. This has only been here for 2 days, the whole product thing, okay? So EZReader is your product reader. It shows you this list of all of your products, all 12,330 products. It shows you the list. You can click on them. It'll show you here also. It's another way of going and saying, well, I want to load that product, this, and that, and load them all in at the same time, okay? Now, Daz can't do this, all right? All right, it just can't do this. And then, so I have now all of those products in here. There's 6 pages of all those products that I just picked. And then I can drag these in and create a folder. A couple of resources I've bought throughout the years, like TX characters, house, etc. And I'll check the answer later with the automatic translator in the subtitles. Thank you very much. And again, sorry for interrupting. Welcome, Juan Carlos. Is that Juan Carlos? Jan Carlos? Welcome, friend. I'm sorry, when you came in, I really should have welcomed you into the chat. You are very welcome, and thank you for translating into English. I wanted to ask if it's better to buy a 4080 or a 5070 Ti. I would say, yeah, you definitely want to buy the 4080, okay? The 5070 Ti will only work with Daz 2025, which is a beautiful program. but it's missing so much, and it may take a year or two before Daz 2025 actually ever becomes, and so, but I mean, if you can get like a 4080 Ti or something, but I would stay away from the 50 series, because if you put that in your computer, you just like lose all your scripts. You lose ultra scenery. You lose, I mean, just so many scripts. You lose your hedge maker. You lose your brightness managers and your conversion program. Anything that's a script, and I use tons of scripts. So until, you know, and Daz may not like me saying this, but, you know, it's until 2025 works with our scripts, it's not there. And that's why I'm on, like right now, I have 2 computers. I can push 3 buttons and I'm on another computer. Okay? That's my 5090. I'm working from my computer with the 4090. So, 549, the 5070. Yeah, 5070 by gigabyte. Yeah, so my advice is if you're looking to upgrade your graphics card, I really have to say, do not buy a 5090. It will not work with, a 50 series card will not render. It will not render in, it's like buying an AMD card. It will not render in Daz 4.24. It just, when you click the render button, nothing happens. Okay? So do not buy a 50 anything, okay? Because it will not render, and then, and in order to run them both in the same computer, you have to have a $10,000 computer. I know, I looked into it, okay? In order to run them both, it was cheaper for me to buy another entire computer and run my 5090 in that and switch back and forth than it was to be able to run them both in one computer. So, because what happens is if you put them both in one computer, they both end up getting bumped down to like 4x speed, and that just right off the bat like hobbles both cards. And right now, when I have 2 computers, they're both running at now absolute top speed. So I don't have to, so yes, you want to buy the 4080, okay? But I would go and see if you can get a 4090, you know? But that's the way I am. And if there's a 4090 Ti, you know, so I mean, I'm always looking. So the 40 series is what you want, okay? And you probably won't really be wanting to have a 5070. I mean, the Daz 2025 is spectacular. It's a spectacular program. It's built completely on new code. It's the parts of it have been built from the ground up. It is just an amazing thing, but it's not there yet, and it may not be there for months and months. Okay, I can't do anything in 59 in Daz 2025. I have a 5090. I can load figures in there, and I can load scenes in there. That's it. None of the scripts really work. There's just too many of them that don't work, and I use those scripts. I use scripts like crazy. So it's just, you know, I just think of even a few of the scripts that I use here, just like this handful of them, all right? This is this, you know, lock one. I use this to lock my camera. Alienator Pro, I can't live without that. This Mask Builder 2, can't live with that. 3Delight, you know, I could like convert the scene and then bring it over. It's such a pain to take and bring it back and forth between the two, okay? The scene cutaway doesn't work. Okay, ultra scatter. I just love using ultra scatter. It's like, and then I don't even have ultra scenery in here because that's a tab that doesn't work in. And then you've got all of those other things like the in your that are like, you know, the all of in the Windows part where you have your like what is it called, the Basa, and there's just a whole bunch of them up in here which go into Windows panes, and you have these look at my hair, you have these FISO SP, you have phase transfer, which I don't know that works anymore. You have Animate 2 doesn't work in, you got the heat animations, probably that doesn't work either. You have, let's see, Materia Mesh Maker probably doesn't, I'm sure these don't work. The Puppeteer, I don't think that one works either. And yeah, there's just a ton of these things that don't work. And so, and Ultra Scenery XT doesn't work. Ultra Scatter 2 doesn't work. I don't believe they work. No, I'm sure they don't in 2025. So yeah, just yeah. And the thing is that really the CUDA cores and the speed of the 4090 is so close to the 5090. It's not worth it doing it just because, like right now with this 4090, most scenes will render within 20 minutes, like, and actually go up to like 15,000 iterations within 20 minutes. That's like a lot, you know. Most scenes will render with 2,000 iterations, but some scenes require you to go up to, like low light scenes and all, require you to go up to like 15 and 20,000 iterations. And you can do that in 20 minutes on a 4090. That's enough. Now, if you're working with animations and stuff and you're not working with any scripts, and you can't work with animation in Daz without using some scripts. You need to be able to work with certain morph managers and work with certain things like that. Yeah, it's not there yet. There's a dream there. Daz Studio 2025 will eventually completely eclipse 4.24, but not for a long time. And the thing is that your 4090 will not render in, I believe it doesn't. I'm not sure. I think it may actually render in Daz 4.24. Let's open, I think I've got Daz Daz 2025, where is that? I think I've got it on here. Let's go to C drive here, and we go to program files, Daz 3D, Daz public, Daz Studio 6. Yes, I do. Let's put this here. Okay, create shortcut here. Now we go to the alpha. This is our 4090. Will it render in Daz 6? Yeah, you can use that. It just found my Daz library. Yes, I'll participate. Sure. I don't think they even do that. Okay, now it wants me to, okay, we'll work offline. I don't know if it'll let me, but we'll go next. Name. And all right, next. Okay, we can say okay. Let's see if this worked. And it's, yeah, it's showing stuff here, but figures. All right, let's put a figure in the scene, the elephant. Anatomy figures. All right, we have it in the scene. This is through, let's see if it will render. Yeah, so, okay, so this, so your 4090 or 4080 will render in 2025. So that's the difference. It's that the 5090 will not render in 4.24 with all the scripts that we need and all the ultra scenery stuff. It will not render here. But this now maybe, let me double check. This could have used my graphics card. Let's see, hardware. Let's turn off CPU and see if it still renders. Allow CPU fallback. Okay, let's now go back and go out of here. And let's go back in just to make sure. Let's go back to iRay. Yeah, see, it just rendered with my graphics card, my 40. So yeah, I would say definitely do not buy a 5090, period. I made a big mistake buying it, but I test things. It's my job here, being out here, to test things, okay? And it's just like what I just did right there, okay? I tested a 4090 with live to say it works, and you just saw me uncheck. Now I'm going to open this back up again one more time, and we're going to just try one more test. So you've got to always double check things. Work offline for now. Next. Okay. Now it should, because it does sometimes require a restart, okay, to set some of these things. Now we'll go back to smart content. Here, go to default. And let's load something else in. Let's go to figures again. And let's load in something else. Where are you? Where are you? Daz Horse 3. Figures. All right. Let's load the Daz Horse 3 in and see if it renders. Let's just double check, because you know, sometimes you have to restart. And look at that. This is iRay. Oh, we have to actually render it. This is our viewport. See if this works. We have the latest drivers, and it does. It just rendered in iRay. So yeah. So do not buy a 5070 or any 50 series, anything for Daz. Okay? It's going to take too long before they fix and some scripts will may not get fixed if they were made by people who have died. And it's going to take Daz a while to procure the rights to some of these scripts and to be able to port them over. And so, and I don't see that they've been putting a rush on getting Ultra Scenery over to Daz 2025, Daz version 6. So while we're in, okay, this is Daz 4.24. I'm going to show you where, you see now when we go here and see this user content, okay, where it says exported. This is it, okay? See my environments? We can go, so each one of these has 6. It only exports the folders. These are my props all, okay, scene all. These are the things that I exported to full scenes, preloads, okay, sky tools. These sky tools, I think, might have these HDRI scan. So yes, these are my HDRIs, and see they work. Okay, you double click on them and they load, and these are the exported back to Daz stuff. Daz bought Ultra Scenery. Okay, so they don't have to wait for permission to export Ultra Scenery. I think that I see that there's a joke. Okay, yes, they're waiting for Judgment Day. So maybe by that time they'll make up their mind if they're going to port these to. So I don't know, and I don't pretend to know what's really going on when it comes to Daz 6 and Daz 4.24, but I do know that the 4090 works with 4080, 4070, 4060. They work with both versions of Daz, where the 5090 only works with Daz, only works with Daz 2025. If you put a scene in and you have a 50 series card in your computer, it will not render that scene in Daz. It won't render anything. It will not render iRay with that card. Okay, nothing. So it won't work with your scripts with the fully flourishing version of version 4.24. Okay, so this is our these are our HDRIs from. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? Nice little Christmas scene with little skaters and tra-la-la-la-la. Yep, and Santa's sleigh flying through the air, heading from the North Pole all the way to Florida, to a Walmart near you. So this is it. And so now, as you can see, you can paginate through these pages. And these images, okay, these are the HDRIs that don't show in your library, okay? These are the entire HDRI. This is 4,831 files, okay? So these are the HDRIs that are hidden, that don't have any images, that don't have DUF files. This is every HDRI on your computer. EZFinder takes them from scans your library, brings them and into EZFinder, and then allows you to curate them into folders, into groups, and into different things. So instead of just putting them all in one folder like I have, you could break them into like nighttime scenes, warm scenes, cold scenes, green scenes, different colors, pink scenes. So fantasy scenes, fantasy HDRIs. There's a fantasy HDRI right there. See, so you can do all kinds of stuff with it. Outside scenes, inside. I mean, some of these make sense. Some of this curation makes sense to curate them for outside and inside scenes. So, yeah, a little picnic on the grass. That would be nice. So, yeah, mountain lake. This is a beautiful, I've used these before. So the thing is I go through here and I just say, oh my gosh, I've never seen, like, I don't think I've seen this one. I haven't seen it yet, but no, I've seen some of these road ones. I finally started to kind of go through them, but I don't remember the chain link fence. But this is pretty good, pretty nice. And another one here, and this one, go this one with a higher quality. So, yeah, this is cool. This reminds me of a video game. Like, it reminds me of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So yeah, this is how it works. So I've kind of gone over some of these new features. Again, just to kind of reiterate some of the things it's already running. It's nice to have that tell me that. So that when I click on it, that's another little feature. When you click on it again, you think it's not open, and it just says it's already running. So when you bring these in, now down here where it says multiple compartments, see, or if I go in here, it tells me which, this is really nice. It tells me this is Ghost Lights, and this is tab 2 favorites. Okay, so it's my tab 2 favorites tab. So it's the favorites panel. Okay, it just happens to be my favorites tab as well, but it's tab 2. So I know like when I get working on a long folder and then I say, what folder was this? Well, I can look right down here and say, oh, this was my naturals folder, or this wardrobe folder. Okay, this is wardrobe tab 2 favorites. If I put one of these in these HDRI scan, okay, now we're in HDRI scan tab 2 sky tools. Okay, this was just put in today. Before it didn't say anything down here. Well, it actually just said the works. That was it all the time. And now it tells you which folder you've injected. If okay, this is scripts folder. Okay, now it's going to tell me tab 2 sky tools. All right, if I add something from here, okay, and grab these and inject them in, it will tell me these are 436 products from the EZ Reader. Okay, so it tells you that, and the same thing with EZ Designer. Or if I inject some DUF files in, it will tell me that they are DUF files from multiple compartments. Okay, these are compartments. So big stuff, and again, we can go through this with, we don't have to click the pagination up there. We can use the keyboard and just push the arrow keys to go through them. So there are just precious tiny little side cases that need to be done. Guess what though, Rex? I'm actually opening my 3D program. Hasn't opened in 3 months. My YouTube name changed, ought to reveal what I changed my priorities to. But yeah, I'm going to attempt a render. Oh, very nice. Very, very excellent. So, yeah. So we're working on this. So if I just type in lips, we got a few here, but this is how we isolate it. Now, that's out of 3,600 pages. Now I typed in lips, and now it's 23 pages of just lips. Look at this. So, yep. And so you put them all into one folder, and then you go through them, and you say, okay, these right here, they all look like they're part of the same lips, like maybe up to here. Yeah, they are. No, these are VK, MW lips. The MW lips go to here. These are for Genesis 9. Okay, so you can create a folder called Genesis 9, just drag them in, drop them in, and then these ones are also for Genesis 9. These are the VYK. They go all the way to here. Drag them in. What are these? These are Genesis 9 lips as well. So you grab them. These are DT, and okay, these are Genesis 9. So all of those are. So if you find out the whole pages, those are 9. These are 9. Those are 9. Those are 9. And these are 9. No, these are 9, yes. These are. And these are for 9, and these are. So we can just grab the whole page and throw them in. Now we go to people. People all. Eye color. We'll just create a rabbits. Let's see. We'll go new folder. Lips. 9 lips. All right, and then we go here. We'll just rename this to lips. Okay, and those are for 9. We drag these. That gives us some lips. Okay, that's 152. Let's go to the next page. See if these are all. Genesis 9. Genesis 9. These are all Genesis 9 probably. Let's double check. Yep. These. Yep. Let's see these. Yeah, so we're in a whole section of Genesis 9's lips. So we bring them in, and there we go. So we can just keep going. And there's 23 pages. Eventually you'll run into Genesis 8. These are obviously not lips. These are eye paint. So these are 9 as well. So we throw these in as well here into lips. And as soon as you run into Genesis 3, which would be in the Genesis 8, Genesis 8.1, you can just create another folder. And so what you do, instead of exporting these to Daz, back to Daz, you just go Save Tabs, and you go here, and the works, okay, that's save that, and save this, yes, okay, and that just saved all of these tabs, all of them, all right, and how big is that folder? Well, let's go in and look. That's part of your So all of that, it was to export it to Daz, it was 20 gigs, 21, 23 gigs, okay? Now we go here and we look at our user data folder, and that is in our organizer saves, and this was VFT, which stands for VF Virtual Folder Tabs, which saves all of your tabs. And that's the works right there. We go right-click, Properties. How big is it here? 7 megabytes, okay? So that means that you can curate to your heart's content, and you can create different layouts. Like I can come here and I could create just all the 7 of these for just shaders. Instead of like having one of these for shaders, I could have this one for metal shaders, this one for glass shaders, okay? And then I could save this entire thing as shaders. And then just load it in when I need to. Load tab. Okay, yes. Load the works. And boom. Now let's go back here to our people. And there's our lips. See, it works. And so we go back here, and now now we can have these curated lips. These are just Genesis 9 lips. 3 pages of them. And there's more. You know, it's like, as I said, I haven't had time to curate because I've been making this for you all. So this is how this works. So I am done for today. We are going to play some polka. And I'm going to do a little jig. No, I think I'll wait for that till later. I'll go do that in the kitchen when I go and cook some dinner. So thank you people for watching. I hope you have learned something today. We only had one little teeny tiny bug, and I have to remember what it was. So thank you for watching. And I will see you in the next. We are gonna polka dance. Yes, you are right, Art. Let's all dance. It is a wonderful time to do the polka. So I will see you again soon. Thank you kindly, people, for being part of this video. Thank you, Art. Thank you. Have a wonderful time. We have Matt here, and we've had Jan Carlos, and we have Art here, Angus, and Tank Top Tony. Welcome, Tank Top. And I'm sorry I missed your question. When will this be available? I'm hoping by as soon as Daz is ready, because you know, it's going to require a little bit of I'm going to have to possibly put some of Daz's code into it. So which won't be that hard to do. So we'll put the code in, and that will stop any kind of piracy and stuff. So it will be the same kind of piracy that's in the Daz stuff. Hopefully that works. I don't know how well it works, but I think it does work well. So I think people pretty much buy their stuff now from Daz. So yes, you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you again in the next EZ3DTV tutorial page. I've got like one curl in the front, so my hair is weird. Now I just made it like much worse. Everything's backwards. So yes, I will see you again in the next EZ3DTV tutorial page. And look for EZFinder sometime, hopefully around the holidays. I've got all the art. I've got the program art done. I have the manual done. I have everything pretty much done, and it's ready to really kind of go. So that's the way this works. So thank you kindly. Oh, it was pagination. I have a couple of things, couple of pagination things, and that is it. A couple of pagination bugs. Later. Thank you kindly, people. We will see you again soon. Bye-bye.